The Iron Claw, this is kind of how the move goes, I think, was directed by Sean Durkin and stars Zac Efron, Jeremy Allen White, Harris Dickinson, Holt McCallany, amongst many others. And this is a movie that chronicles the true story of the Von Erich wrestling family and their rise to becoming the greatest wrestling family of all time, and is still considered so. But as I'm sure some people who are aware of the Von Erich's history, they have some idea as to how that eventually came crashing down, and this movie explores that side of it too. Normally I try to avoid spoilers of any kind in my review, even when it's a historical movie, but in this case I feel like I can't really talk about it unless I go into some detail about the actual Von Erich story, at least, because the actual story stems from the fact that the patriarch of the family, played in this movie by Holt McCallany, is someone who really wants to push his sons to be as good in this as he was, and to be able to accomplish things that he was not able to accomplish, rise above those ranks. And as that's happening in the movie, there is that pressure that comes along with it, the idea of wanting to be so good that, you're able to make everybody proud. And so the movie deals with that in very heartbreaking and in very affecting ways. While the movie starts off pretty fun, let's just put it that way, and you're seeing all of them do really good, there's this camaraderie between them, things seem to be going great. The main brother who you're following in this movie, Kevin Von Erich, played by Zac Efron, he's having a really great time. He's just got a new girlfriend, played by Lily James. Things seem to be great. What could possibly go wrong? And that's where the film kicks in. And the performances that you get out of this are really, really great. Zac Efron is honestly career best over here. I've seen him in a lot of stuff over the years. I think, like most people, we were all introduced to him thanks to High School Musical. But if you were to tell me that that guy, Troy Bolton in High School Musical, would do this, would have never believed you. This is a very different game here. He's done some good roles before, but this is a cut above those. And he is outstanding in this movie. A very physically and emotionally demanding performance, and he absolutely lives up to it and then some. And I hope to see some love for him now that things have lifted for this movie. Jeremy Allen White, who I think is a phenomenal actor, and if you haven't watched The Bear, I highly recommend you to, is also outstanding in this movie, giving an equally very affecting performance, something truly heart-wrenching. Harris Dickinson as well is fantastic in the movie. Really, everybody does a really, really good job. There's no faulty performances to be found in the entirety of The Iron Claw. And the direction from Sean Durkin is outstanding. This is such a meticulously directed movie, and also a very carefully directed movie. At the same time, you have to realize, exactly the story that is being told over here, you have to tell it in the best way possible, in the most respectful way possible. And though there are some things that are not talked about in this movie, there is a big omission in terms of the entire family dynamic, which has been brought up by a few other critics, which I do agree with. I also think that the reason for that omission might be just because the point is made after a while and it might not sit well with some people. I'll let you guys look that up. You'll know what I'm talking about once you go on the internet. But as it stands, even whatever you do get is affecting enough and just as gut-wrenching enough that it's able to drive that point. But magnificent work from him, the really tight screenplay as well that manages to do that. It's very dangerous to make a movie like The Iron Claw because it sort of rides that line of being very thoughtful and very emotional, but also way too melodramatic if handled in the wrong way. And I think one of the best things about this movie is that it makes sure that it doesn't try to get the emotion out of you by trying to manipulate the emotion out of you. It's doing so in a very natural way that you're following along with that story. And because you're so engaged with it, this movie never loses you for a second, magnificently so. It's just manages to keep you in that grasp that you are so in tune with everything that's happening. You feel like you're part of that. It sort of puts you into that world and into that as effectively without having to resort to sort of leading you into it. which I think is a very good move. I mean, if you're trying to tell a story that's emotionally impactful, you want to do that. It's also beautifully shot, gorgeous cinematography with some excellent fight sequences and choreography. These actors really did give it their all, especially when it comes to the physicality of those roles. Great soundtrack as well, some really great song choices, and music is an intensive part of this movie. Like, it's a huge thing because one of the brothers, Michael, he is someone who is very musically gifted, and so there'll be a lot of points where he's playing music or he's just listening to music, and that factors into the entirety of what's going on with his character, which also leads down a certain path, which that I won't get into. Like, I'm not gonna go into the details of how certain things play out. But overall, I can honestly say that The Iron Claw is one of my favorite movies this year. I have one minor little gripe with it, and that is that there are some things with dynamics that I feel could have been explored a little bit more. There are some things with characters on the side that I feel like we don't get enough time with, especially one of the members of the family. Now, I'm not talking about the one that's omitted from the movie's narrative. I'm talking about something else that's there. It does feel like we don't get enough of that perspective. I think you'll know what I'm talking about when you see the movie. I guess it's supposed to sort of relay the fact that there wasn't much say from this side of it, but the movie, in those moments when it really has to focus in on that, it manages to do so heart-wrenchingly that I feel like that's almost the point. But would have been curious to see a little bit more of that fleshed out. That's really it. That's my one tiny little issue with the movie. Overall, The Iron Claw is fantastic. I highly recommend checking it out, and I'm gonna give it a 9.5 out of 10. What a great month. I mean, this has been a really great time. I mean, some really great stuff has come out, and there's still more. I still have to watch Poor Things, which I'm seeing on Thursday. I still have to see Wonka. I still have to see a bunch of other stuff. But I'm so excited. I'm watching The Boy and the Heron later today, so I'm excited to talk about that soon as well. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Look forward to more videos very soon. And then, as always, if you like this, please do subscribe. Let me know what you guys think of The Iron Claw as well. And I'll see you guys at the movies.